dia, tudo bem? Aí, boa tarde. Ah, aqui tem no Brasil, é muito bom isso aí. Tem. Ah, sim. Opa, bom negócio, hein? É bem light, né?
tem aqui dentro é a parte das pessoas, né? Os PJs. Os PJs aqui, né? Adiantamento a fornecedores Campina Grande. Tá? Então de baixo. Vai falar que é o adiantamento dos jurídicos.
Merda, hein, mano.
E aí, Breno? Oi. Foi a ressonância da coluna e do joelho. Só. Teve raio-x também. Não, eles me entregaram uma parte acho, do exame que faltava o laudo. Acho que foi isso.
Ah, mas o laudo geralmente acho que eles mandam por e-mail.
Ah, então.
fazer um evento seguro para todos nós. Mas antes de iniciar, algumas informações, lembrando que este evento está sendo transmitido diariamente ao vivo pelo canal YouTube da Scania Brasil, sempre de 10 ao meio-dia, hora Brasil. Tudo bem? Combinado? Também temos tradução simultânea em português, inglês e espanhol. Queremos muito contar com a sua interação neste evento. Não importa onde você está, Suécia, algum dos nossos mercados na América Latina, Tucumã, na Argentina, em São Bernardo do Campo, em São Paulo, Brasil afora, onde você estiver, participe. Não deixe de enviar suas perguntas e comentários pelo chat, aqui na lateral direita do YouTube. É facinho, vocês já sabem como funciona. Toda hora a gente vai colocar vocês aqui, trazer a interação para dentro da TechWeek. Durante todos os dias receberemos aqui também executivos da Scania e convidados especiais, mais que especiais, para conversar sobre o mundo a partir da perspectiva da digitalização. E a gente também tem um camarote da TechWeek, um camarote exclusivo aí. Produção, será que vocês conseguem me ajudar a colocar o camarote aqui para a gente dar um oi, um bom dia para a galera? Cadê o nosso camarote? Não está a postos ainda? Daqui a pouquinho a gente vai entrar com o camarote para você ver esse pessoal que vai ficar ligado conosco. E ao final do programa a gente vai colocar eles aqui para interagirem diretamente com os convidados. Olha que luxo, olha esse camarote, gente, tá demais. Concorda comigo? Pessoal, bom dia, obrigado por estar aqui conosco, fica ligado, presta atenção, bastante atenção, porque no final vocês vão ter o prazer de falar diretamente com nossos convidados, tá bom? E para quem está chegando agora, bem-vindo novamente à TechWeek, o encontro que a gente...
Just arrived. Welcome again to TechWeek. Let's try our best to make this the best meeting of the month. Let's try to make this more than just another live session. Actually, we have prepared an experience to inspire you to be part of the conversation and to learn from the gurus that we're going to have here and more. Participate. We want you to speak up, comment, and express yourselves because, after all, this conversation is about you. So I think I have said enough, and let's get started with the interaction. I want to see who has waking up already, and please answer what brought you here. Please tell us what brought you here. What made you wake up this morning, this Monday morning, and join us for this Tech Week? You can choose an option here. You work with technology. You want to learn more about technology. You want to work with technology. You want to know whether Scania is tech, and I can answer that. Scania is high tech, or you want to know what companies are doing in terms of technology. So you're going to pick an answer, and we're going to share the results of the poll in a few minutes. To participate, point your cell phone camera to the QR code on the screen. We're also going to send you a link in the chat, but you can use the QR code to make sure you participate, and we'll be back with the results of the poll in a few minutes. Today's session has as its kickstart the transformation of the industry of transportation and logistics. And this in a very disruptive landscape that's full of opportunities and challenges. At Scania, we know that technology and innovation are part of our everyday work, our everyday life, in our plants, in our processes, and the solutions we sell to our customers. But we know that digitalization is key in our journey towards sustainability. And for sustainability to come about and digitalization to come about, it's up to us. It's up to everyone in this room today. It all starts with people, after all. It starts with the pains of a client and not in technology. We're centered in that. We're focused on the client, on the customer. I don't know. We're going to talk about how that relates with technology, and I'm sure you can come up with many contributions. What comes first, after all, technology or people? Who is the focus of the digitalization process, technology itself or people? So to start, this conversation, I will invite our President and CEO, Mr. Christopher Pogrovsky. Christopher, can you hear us?
Escuto muito bem, Patrícia. Muito bom
I
dia.
can hear you very well, Patricia. Good morning. Good morning, sir. It's a pleasure to have you here. So, we're talking about transformation, right? What can you tell us about that?
Bom, primeiro, bom dia a todas e a todos, né?
First of all, good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen,
Que eu participo desse
it's
encontro.
with great joy
O tema é
that I joined you this morning to talk about such a pressing matter, such a fundamental topic for everyone, especially for us who are looking into the future. After all, innovation, technology, digitalization,
da agenda do mundo dos
these topics are leading the agenda in the world of business, in the labor market, in the academia, and even in the society as a whole.
tudo isso está vindo numa velocidade incrível.
This is all happening at an amazing speed, unprecedentedly
Vocês podem perguntar
fast. And then you may ask,
como a Scania se posiciona.
how will a century-old company like Scania
Eu diria que
position itself in view of this transformation? Well, my answer is that Scania is taking action and definitely leaving its comfort zone.
mas eu entendo que a gente deveria fazer pequeno
But
exercício
before we actually start, I think it's important to look back
entender o
and learn more about our past so we can get a better understanding of our present and think of the future. Scania was born in Sweden in 1891, and from then on, it's reinvented itself a couple of times. We've manufactured bikes, train wagons. Did you know that?
revolução do
And then
combustão,
there was the combustion
transformando
engine revolution, and we innovated and we turned innovation into reality, engineering into quality, and the Scania brand into a legacy.
em 2016
More recently, in 2016, we opened another chapter of our history with the launching in Paris of the new generation of Scania trucks.
nosso propósito
And of course, the public announcement of our purpose, which is to lead transformation into a
carbonizado.
carbon-free logistics and transportation system.
Nos 5 anos,
Over the past 5 years,
trabalhando
we have worked hard to achieve this objective because we understand that sustainability is not an option anymore. Sustainability is a pressing need.
e em 2020,
In 2020,
como todos nós sabemos,
we were
pela tragédia sanitária
hit hard
da
by the global health tragedy of COVID-19. We haven't overcome the crisis yet, but it has forced us to face the following question. Is this really the world we want? Can we do better? Should we do a green reset? With these questions in mind, we're overcoming challenges and hardships and gaining momentum in our digitalization strategy.
E aqui, apesar das incertezas,
Despite all the uncertainty, Scania has made some progress in its purpose and joined the Science-Based Targets Initiative.
temos agora metas de redução
We now have emission reduction goals based on science, based on evidence,
50.000 colaboradores
and our 50,000 employees are committed to attaining them.
na frente.
In the future,
2040,
between 2040 and 2050, we don't know exactly when,
vamos parar.
where will we be? We don't really know, but we know two things. We're going to be relevant players in the logistics and transportation system, and we will be carbon free.
Enquanto 2050 não chega, vamos nos guiar
While we
pelo
wait for
presente.
2050, let's focus on the present.
Coronavírus,
The COVID-19 crisis has
duas entre três
reinforced the importance of 2 to 3 trends worldwide:
sustentabilidade e
sustainability and digitalization.
de lado, a
On the one hand, we've seen the growth of the climate crisis, the escalation of the climate crisis, and the threats to our planet. We're already living days where sustainability is not an option, it's a need. If your business today is not sustainable, no one will want to work for you. People will end up refusing to buy your products or hire your services. And moreover, no one will be investing in your business. On the other hand, we have digitalization, which definitely ensured the continuity of many businesses and opened space for innovation, disruptive change, and of course, it changed many business models. So the big question that I ask myself and I ask you is, how will we manage digitalization? How can we deal with digitalization? This is a dilemma with great opportunities and also great risks. We have this Tech Week to try and answer some questions. I hope this is an outstanding opportunity for us to prepare questions, to come up with questions to this dilemma, to prepare answers to this dilemma and the challenges of our everyday work. Again, I would like to thank you all for joining us, and I wish you a great Tech Week. Thank you. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, Christopher. I think this is a great way for us to start. This is going to be a week of transformation, inspiration, and a lot of newness. How many of you knew that we used to manufacture bicycles, right? So there's a lot of important things going on here. Welcome to you all again. And now let's share the results of our poll. Let's talk to Juliana Sa to share those results with us. Good morning, Juliana. Good morning, Patty. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us, and let's take a look at the results of our survey. Let's see what brought you in to this event. Let's see what people answered. Let's see what our audience answered. We wanted to know whether you work with technology, or if you wanted to learn more about technology, or if you wanted to work with technology, if you wanted to know whether Scania is tech, or if you wanted to learn what companies are doing in terms of technology. Let's take a look at the results. Most of our attendants work with technology, and secondly, people want to know what big companies are doing in the area of technology. I like the curiosity here. Curiosity is a key competence for the future. Yeah, it is, Patty. We're going to talk about that during the week. So like Patty said, we're living a perfect time with the perfect conditions for digitalization, with the exponential growth of innovation and technology-based initiatives that are making things that used to be impossible or very hard into things that are readily available. The ability to apply new technologies and digital features to generate value and opportunities has become a fundamental movement to stay relevant and competitive. There's a sentence by Klaus Schwab, founder of the World Economic Forum. In the new world, it's not the big fish that eats the small fish, but it's the fast fish that eats the slow fish. So my question to you now is, how can we be the fast fish in this sea of opportunities? Patty, what do you think about that? We're going to talk about that during this week, right? Yeah, we're going to ask many questions during this week, right? Yeah. So with that in mind, let's get to it, right? Let's get down to business and take a look at our agenda for today. We have invited 3 prominent names to open this event, starting with Mikael Kato, who is going to talk to us directly from Sweden. He's the digital officer of Scania. Next, we're going to have Mr. Renato Da Paz from Amazon Web Services. And to finish our day, we're going to have Mr. Adolfo Corujo from the international consultancy LIC. Throughout the week, we're also going to have guests with amazing experiences to share with us. They're from companies with some amazing cases that I'm sure you're going to love. Now, let's take the next step and hand it over to our first guest, who's coming directly from Sweden. Yes, now let's shift gears and go to Sweden, from Brazil to Sweden, and from Portuguese, we're gonna turn into English with our next guest, and he's a guy who's setting the tone of digitalization at Scania.
IT, technology in digital is transforming the ecosystem of transport and logistics. And we are, Scania, adapting our culture, our leadership, and the organization to continue to stay ahead. To talk about it with us, we are very pleased to have with us today Mikael Cato, the digital officer from Scania Group. So Mikael, welcome. Are you with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly. Nothing like good technology to break the boundaries. And we are together with you in Sweden. Thank you. We have lots of people following us today, and we have many students. What makes me very curious, so I would like to ask you to open our talk today, if when you were in college student, when you were a student, did you ever thought of becoming a chief digital officer?
That's a really interesting question, and big thanks also for inviting me to your great event. I also have some overhearing here. I can hear my voice coming back. So maybe if the tech guys can look into that.
Yes, we hear you perfectly, okay? So from our side,
right.
it's perfect. Let's try to fix your voice.
No, but yeah, in regards to your first question there, I mean, I kind of first met tech and the internet for real when I went to the university and when I went to college. And for me, it was a dream come true to be able to work and get paid for transforming all ways of doing things to smarter and digitalized ways. And as for the term chief digital officer, that wasn't really invented until 10, 12 years after I left school. So no, I didn't have that specific dream articulated, but I'm really happy to work with what I do and to be able to do that for Scania. I really enjoy that.
Well, but so you are among the passionate people for technology, because I'm sure everybody that's watching today is very passionate for technology. Good thing. But today the issue is digitalization. So I would like to ask you, for Swedish company recognized by its innovation, as we have shown by Christopher, Opening, and so on, best in class in technology. What is exactly digitalization? What are we talking about at Scania when we talk about digitalization?
Well, for Scania, digitalization is about identifying and understanding and meeting new and growing customer expectations, as well as expectations from employees, and also adding on top of that from owners and society. And we meet these expectations by applying technology and the power of data in as smart ways as we possibly can to impact the value we bring to our customers, and also how we face and delight our customers, and also how we attack the experience from our employees, and also the cost and the quality side of our business. So that would be a way of viewing it, unlocking and realizing values to customers, to employees, and to doing things in a smarter and more clever way. That would be my answer to that.
Okay, good. So thank you for that one. But while we are watching, please don't forget, the audience, please send your questions so we can have a chat here with Mikael Cato. Don't lose this opportunity. But coming to the next one, it's very, of course, it's following your saying about what is digitalization for Scania. What does it mean, or why is it so important when you talk about digitalization to talk about culture? What is the whole of culture in this transformation?
Well, I think culture is actually the foundational mechanism in how we embrace the way we change. So if we think of digitalizing an organization, we need to understand that unlocking that potential is about how we take on the assignment of evolving towards customers, towards employees, and towards also quality and efficiency. And I think that we have a good starting point in our curiosity for tech and in our curiosity of change. We need to add some critical components in that still, but I think that we have many foundational pieces in our DNA for digital transformation.
Well, DNA that is transforming and helping us to support this time in our society and in technology. Thank you so much for that. Continue sending messages throughout our chat, but I have one specific question for you here, Mikael. In Brazil, there is a saying that a bunch of ideas not implemented worth not a cent. I know you are a passionate guy with strategy in implementation, and you say that always starts with inspiration and awareness. So I ask you how to pursue in the digitalization journey, how we can do that, implement, getting out of this concept and the tryout, and how we put the feet on the street when it comes to digitalization at Scania.
I kind of like your saying there because I agree with it. It's very, very easy to stand in front of your mirror every morning and give yourself good advice. But if you don't act on top of those advice, you end up with nothing, right? Maybe disappointment, and that's even worse. And at the same time, I would say that culture kind of eats strategy for breakfast. And some famous people have said that. But looking at how we take this big change scope forward, we do need to understand that the change journey, regardless, it starts with inspiration and ideas and building knowledge on which areas to act on, and without that, so that's kind of like the basis of getting things moving, getting people aware and getting people informed, and then with that energy to improve, and with that knowledge on what and how to improve, you kind of take things forward. And being with Scania now for 4 years and spending like 19 years before that outside Scania, I do think that we sometimes need to understand that this big, great company has some blockers to change, and we need to be able to somehow understand how we deal with them in order to get a faster transformation going.
Well, fast, I think that's the tricky word that everybody is living upon. Fast speed, that's everything is connected to this speed, the power that you have to give speed to things. That's a good insight that you bring to us. But I was wondering also, when it comes to the transport and the logistic ecosystem, how are we connect with digitalization to support our purpose? How would you say, okay, this is totally necessary for the journey that we are seeing ahead on sustainability, how we can put together the purpose and digitalization?
There are many things that tap into driving the shift per se in terms of sustainability. I mean, one easy thing that we, or one thing that we sometimes tend to forget is that to be able to use our existing product and use the correct specifications of that, and making that easy for the customer to choose through through helping with specification. That's also digitalization. So what we do with the configurator, what we do with maybe an upgraded version of guided offering, and those things also helps to drive the specifications and sustainability. The other thing, of course, which is a bigger question, is to be able to remove some of the overarching inefficiencies in the transportation system with the data that we consistently produce. And I think that some of us are aware that our data is becoming more and more interesting for third parties. And I think that we will see over the coming years more and more trials and more also working solutions in exploiting that data to solve some of the inefficiencies in the ecosystem of transport and logistics, to take out the waste, and in that trajectory be able to strive for a more sustainable transport ecosystem. These are only two examples, but I think that if we had like 3-4 hours, we could continue talking about this all afternoon, because there's so much things that you can do.
Thank you. But we see we have lots of questions from our side, Mikhail, our chat. People are sending questions. We have now our invitees all here with us in a Camarote TechWeek, as we say here in Brazil. I will ask Ju to please, do you have a question from the public?
Yes, Pachi. Yes, Mikhail, we have comments and questions. Starting with some comment from Peter Steinhauser. He says, congratulations, Scania, for the initiative of TechWeek event. Excellent opportunity. Thank you for sharing knowledge. A day of digital transformation in people. I will even transform myself. Thank you, Peter. Very good. And we have a question from Mateus Araújo. He's a trainee from Scania. He asked if you think the pandemic popped up a need for innovation and digitalization within our company. What's your opinion, Mikhail?
Yes, definitely. And I do think that we acted very quickly on some of the trend waves that kind of rose to tsunamis in the wake of COVID-19. I think that what we are experiencing today, of course, the way that we collaborate online and the way that we create value, not being face-to-face, that has kind of exploded. And when we look at our statistics on how well we collaborate today over Teams, etc., I think it's amazing to see. And I think that some of the decisions that we took early on for being in our industry was kind of forward-leaning, and of course we had also troubles and impediments in doing that. But overall, I think that actually Scania IT should have really great credit for allowing that for many parts of the business. Not stating that we of course had problems in some areas as well. The other parts which I think that we acted on and which we drove initiatives on very early was the things.
Unmute. Whoops. We lost you. Okay, we lost you, Mikhail. Just a second. We're gonna be back with you. Meanwhile, we continue here. If you are arriving, switch language, desculpa. Bom dia, pessoal. A gente perdeu o Mikhail um minutinho, ele já volta.
Good morning, guys. We lost Mikhail for a second, and in the meantime, let's continue with our program here and your participation. Thank you for the comments. Juliana is reading them. Make sure you keep working, keep participating, and I think Mikhail should rejoin us soon. Ju, any further comments? Any more comments? Yes, thank you for your comments. We have comments in English, in Portuguese, in Spanish. It's multilingual. It's the Tower of Babylon. I love it. So some people are telling us that they're proud to be Scania. We also have more questions for Mikhail. Gabriela is saying it's a big pleasure to be part of all this. Philip Araújo is saying it's a pleasure to be part of this family. Lucas Lima is telling us that creativity is all about thinking about new things, and innovation is about doing new things. We'll talk about that later, right, Patty? Yes, guys. So stay tuned because there's a lot about that coming up. Yeah, we're trying to reconnect with Mikael, but in the meantime, I asked you to keep sending us questions. We have many questions in the chat. I think we have reconnected with Mikael.
Welcome back. We continue here with our chat. No problems. Let's go. Do we have, yes, we have another question here from Jorge Luis. He's following us during the Tech Week. So he wants to know, how different is the culture in the company around the world? That's a question that I had also for you. So it's very connected. We are present, Mikael, in more than 100 countries. But of course, we have different maturity level in each one of them. How can we, like do a one-page transformation on that digitalization? How it's going to be for a company that is spread out around the world? How you see that?
I think that you are touching here on one of the key questions, which we need to improve and solve to keep to get to a higher pace and to be able to embrace our opportunities on a wider level. And that is the capability side of things. And we define that as mindset, methods, platforms, and competence. And when we look at our maturity, we see a very, very big need for citizen development programs and also in the wider aspect of democratization of mainly methods, platforms, and knowledge. And we're taking on that task. That is a part of a new assignment that has actually been given to our office, the digital office, to elaborate on new ways of doing that. And we are doing that, and I think that we see some good traces of success in that area, also being formed by very good collaboration between Europe and the SLA organization. And I think that I really think that this is one of the recipes for success, and I hope that we see more of these cross-functional, cross-regional capability building programs moving forward.
Well, great. Cross-functionally, this is music to our ears. It's good to know that is also one front that Scania is going forward. But I think we have one more question here from our chat. Let's see, Jo.
Yes, actually, we have a lot of questions, but the one that I have here is from Philippe Lopes. He asked you, how do you think the 5G will affect the digitalization worldwide? And how is this affecting Scania? What will be the next big change in the digitalization? So, Mikael, please let us know what's your opinion about it.
Ooh, the 5G question, it is an important one, and it is a big one as well. And it is. I don't think that there is like one or two like main use cases to develop that understanding. And I think that it's also kind of a holy grail question. Everybody's searching on or defining how to use it best. But of course, we have been like experimenting and trying to understand that ourselves. But I do actually suggest to drill down deeper on that topic, that question is balanced with the very insightful people working, for instance, with the vehicle-to-vehicle or vehicle-to-X communication within our R&D department. There's so much knowledge there, and there has been so much going on in that space. So I'm kind of taking a rain check on that question.
Okay, but that's a question that we have also got from one of our friends, I think Gustavo Almeida. He has sent a question talking about how to connect digitalization to research and development. How much digitalized we are when it comes in terms of research and development.
So I would say that within R&D, digitalization could be basically everything or nothing. And if you view the large ecosystem trends that we have and say that one of them is connectivity and digital, the other one is battery electric vehicles, and the third one is autonomous transports. In all of them, the amount of software and the need of software is tremendous. I mean, of course, in digitalization and connectivity, it's the predominant part, but also in battery development and in battery electric vehicles, battery development is basically 50% software development as well. And of course, doing autonomous, you have the onboard side of autonomous development and you have the offboard, and that is also a tremendous amount of digitalization and software development. And looking into R&D, today at Scania R&D, we have more engineers working with software than working with construction of physical entities. So basically, from that point of view, we already are traversing over to being a tech company, and I think that this development will continue as well. But that doesn't mean that we are lacking challenges that we need to manage in for instance, software over the air in our value tool chain, or in our tool chain to create production-ready software, to become more model-based oriented and keeping the digital red thread with simulations, etc., and digital twins for each of the parts of our vehicles and our progress. So there are tremendously many use cases within digital and the connection to that towards our research and development.
It's good to know. Good to know that we already have a great hardware. Now we are connected with having a great software to conduct our journey towards the sustainable transport. I'm sure our public didn't know that. That was a first-hand information. So R&D is totally connected with this digitalization roadmap. One thing that I was also here, we have lots. How we should be on technology, innovation, and the vision to scale?
I do think that the need, it's an increasing need to work in partnership, both with companies that have the same needs as us, basically for experience sharing and learning more together with peers. That's one type of partnership. But I do also think that we will see an increasing need to step into commercial partnerships, because the amount of innovation that we will face, we will not be able to embrace ourselves. And we have also within the Traton Group discussed about partnerships within, for instance, the autonomous within the autonomous side with Too Simple. We also have other partnerships, maybe not at the same level, which is kind of proof leading in that way. I also think that we need to be able to in a more structured way and at scale, be able to scout and to embrace innovation happening in the startup scene globally. We are doing that to some extent, started doing that basically 2 years ago, and we're seeing the fruits of that already. But I think that is a trajectory that we need to follow and take to a higher level. Even though we're kind of a large company, we know that there's so much competence and we know that there's so much innovation out there within the specific startup scenes around the globe, and we need to be able to tap into that and make that part of our innovation and value creation as well.
Great to hear that. I guess embrace the challenge, right? And then, of course, we see a lot of this environment with startups and ways to be agile and to put more innovation into our business. Great. Juliana, it seems more people are sending questions. Let's go to that one.
Yes, in our chat, we have a lot of interaction with our audience. And I have one question. We started our conversation with Mikael and asking about digitalization. But Douglas Neves would like to know what is the difference between digitalization and digital transformation. I think this is a question that a lot of people like to ask you.
Yeah, perfectly good question, and I think that we might have a slide defining or one way to define digitalization, and I mean if you some people refer to the digital terminology as digitalization, and digital transformation, where digitization is the first level and basically transforming the media into digital media, digitizing information basically. Digitalization then would refer to digitalizing processes and ways of working, and digital transformation would then imply that you change the way you create value, you change the process that you create value, transforming the business model or the value creation process. So that would be a way to sort out digitization, digitalization, and digital transformation. And I mean, when we talk about it in Scania, a way to make sense of what digital transformation means for us is it's basically understanding the trajectory of how and in what areas we need to evolve. We need to evolve in value creation towards customers in specific ways, and we need to make some choices there. We need to evolve in how our employees work and how they create value, and we need to evolve in the areas of being more end-to-end automated internally, so we don't spend a lot of time on doing rudimentary, repeatable tasks. So that would be almost in a philosophical level how you could relate it to those questions.
Good, thank you. I hope we have shown a slide here, a picture of what you just mentioned, but we can show again. I don't know if the production, if you can put the slide on, but thank you so much for your answer. And we are coming to an end, but I will ask Juliana one more question from the chat.
Yes,
and then
we have another question. Mikhail talked about to evolve. It's really important to have this new step in our company, to have all the areas working together with IT. No, so I think the next question could have a good connection with what you mentioned. Clayton Freitas asked, do you think that Scania will be perceived increasingly more as a software company as time goes by? I think this is a nice question because we are perceived as a truck company, no, a manufacturer. But how do you think it will be our future?
Yeah, that's big thanks for that question, Clayton. And I think that it's a perfectly reasonable one to ask. And if you view how much of what we do will be dependent on software, how much of what we do will be dependent on from analytics, advanced analytics, and to AI, it's not totally unreasonable that if we are successful in let's say 10 to 15 years, get closer to a tech company valuation. But that requires a lot of hard work. That requires having a mindset and a focus on these areas which are crucial to build like competencies and capabilities in the wider level to be able to address. So if you ask me, of course we should seek that position. Of course that we should seek a software or a tech company position, and that is our mutual responsibility actually to make it happen.
Great. So everybody's in the same journey. That's a call from Mikhail Kato. So everyone that is listening to us, let's make it happen. Of course, we can do it. Scania has a lot of technology and is driving the shift towards this technology company that we are eager to be. I had a question here coming to almost our time is over, but we have lots of students, Mikhail, listen to us. And I would like to ask you, you already said that, but if we were here, me, Patrice and Julian were students, really willing to go to and work for Scania. What would you say about, how would you pitch? How would you invite us to be part of Scania for this exciting future and vision that you just mentioned and share with us?
I mean, the way, I mean, there are many ways in. We continuously are displaying like open positions, and if you have the possibility to apply for our trainee program, I really recommend that. I think that is a super great journey where if you have the opportunity to get in, you will see many interesting parts of the company and really first like career boost. So that's super great. And if you talk about why would someone want to join Scania, I think that we have been one thing that might stand out in comparison to other companies, and one of the reasons why I have been able to embrace working together and nurturing a culture. So I would say that is something that stands out apart from making like over.
Okay, we cannot hear you. Okay, sorry, we lost you a little bit. So we lost you totally. Mikhail is okay. He's back. He's not a problem. Well, we go on here. Okay, you're surprised. Can you hear us? We're back?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so you were saying about nurturing culture here at Scania, and we lost you. Could you just repeat?
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, sure. I think that one area where we stand out is how we've been able to nurture our culture and the way that we behave towards each other, and that is manifested through like one of our core values as respect for the individual. I do think that we are a very good company to work for in the employee perspective, and I think that we get proof points of that for the many people that choose to stay with Scania for a long time in their career. So that would be one of the pitch points. Apart from that, of course, we deliver great products and great services on top of that as well.
Great people, great products, great services. What else? Thank you very much, Mikhail Kato, for that great opening. So many inspiring words. Good, very good questions from our audience. So everybody, thank you so much for the public participation and comments. And we're gonna be going on with our event today. But I would like to thank you very much, Mikhail. It has been great to listen to you. We are very curious to know how it's gonna be this journey. But everybody here at Scania is working hard for that and cross-functionally, as you said. And we will be, as Christopher mentioned, right, Julie, a relevant player, more years ahead also. Okay, so we won't lose that legend that we have become. Thank you very much, and see you soon later on. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.
Uau! Mudando a língua agora. Não sei vocês, mas agora eu tô preparada para começar.
Changing languages. I don't know about you, but now I'm ready to start a TechWeek. You've listened to his words. Let's increase our knowledge. Working with Scania. If you're not at Scania yet, you are missing a lot. We have culture, technology, view, and we are making things happen. If you are at Scania, feel the pride of it. If you're not, come to us. It's you now, Ju. We are following, we are just ending the first part of TechWeek. First block, we want to interact with you. And first, I want to comment on the middle of this advance of digitalization, of new business models, culture, attitude, leadership, and mindset are mechanisms to provide sustainability to companies in this new era. And all of it, obviously, will change the way we work in the future. And that's what we want to know. We want to know your opinion about it. Once again, get your cell phone, point to the QR code on screen and answer us. What is the main labor trend for the future? We have many options based in a survey from an international consulting company. We want to know, how do you see the main trend of these among these ones? Work non-based in processes without routine, focus on creation and value, fluid instead of predetermined. Each time more oriented to work in group work and aligned to the context instead of a patterned one. We want you to participate. If you cannot use your QR code on cell phone, you click on the link of the chat to participate. And after the break, we will check on the result of the survey, okay? We'll have a 6-minute break so you can take a coffee, rest a little bit, send an email maybe, but please don't leave us. We'll be back at 10:59 and we'll come back to you to receive the next guests, okay, of our Tech Week. See you soon. Thank you very much for being here.
For more than a century, Scania has been building its reputation as a world-leading manufacturer of trucks and heavy vehicles. Our tradition is about high-quality products adapted to different conditions and needs. From the beginning, we are a trusted brand for sustainable transport. Constant technological improvement has always been our hallmark. Effective solutions for our customers in their day-to-day business. Today, we have a broad range of innovations as standard features, shaped in a new generation of vehicles. Designed for the driver, Scania has created a functional working environment for increased productivity and durability. High-tech systems and monitoring tools to enhance driver safety and avoid unplanned interruptions. Scania provides robust and reliable vehicles adapted to the most demanding environments and tasks. As a leading provider of sustainable transport, we work on fuel efficiency and reduced emissions. This makes our vehicles prepared for future regulations, as well as significantly lowering fuel costs. And of course, lowering costs is key. Cutting-edge technology and unrelenting commitment to quality will boost your total operating economy in the long run. As your strategic partner in transport, your success is key to ours. Therefore, at the end of the day, your business is all that matters. We build on our heritage and our long-standing passion for creating tangible customer value. Scania is already moving into the future. Welcome to join us. Welcome to Scania.
Sometimes it happens so fast, we don't even see it. Only when you stop and observe, you'll realize its full impact. We can travel faster than ever before, without even moving. We can communicate with millions of people instantly. Today, glasses don't just improve our vision, they show us our imagination. What used to be manual, repetitive, and inefficient can now be automated. Trends can be spotted, analyzed, making future events predictable. We can make sustainable decisions for our planet based on real-time data. Businesses can expand their activities and develop into networks of information, providing whole new services. Digitalization is affecting everything around us. It integrates with every user experience. It's part of a seamless progression from then to now to tomorrow. At Scania, we see the opportunities. We are increasing our pace to take advantage of the changing digital landscape and all it can offer us.
Uma inovação necessariamente não precisa ser algo de outro mundo, que não exista. Uma inovação é sim uma ideia nova e uma ideia boa. E é isso que a gente veio ver aqui na fábrica de chassis, mais precisamente no posto de pré-montagem do radiador. Um projeto de automação e digitalização de processos criou o LTS, Live Truck Standard, em português, padrão de montagem em tempo real, que tem como objetivo otimizar processos e garantir a qualidade que os nossos clientes esperam, merecem e recebem dos nossos produtos. Bom, agora vamos explicar melhor. O LTS é composto por 6 tecnologias. Tact Time, para cadenciar o tempo de processo. Work Order na tela, para instruir visualmente o colaborador sobre as montagens a serem efetuadas. Okayokis, para garantir a correta montagem. Matriz de competência, para verificação em tempo real dos treinamentos dos colaboradores. Jidoka, que assegura que todos os torques estão em conformidade. E o SCADA, para supervisionar todo o processo produtivo em tempo real. Com o LTS completo, temos um mix de sistemas que garante um produto premium. Uma verificação por biometria. Garantindo mais processo. Além dos benefícios para a produção, o LTS também contribui com o meio ambiente. Por produto, são 4 folhas de work order que deixamos de utilizar somente nesse posto. Se produzimos 70 caminhões um dia, isso são 280 folhas. Isso em um ano dá cerca de 73 mil unidades que deixamos de consumir. Esse é um ótimo exemplo de que tecnologia e sustentabilidade podem e devem andar juntas. E é assim que a jornada da Scania segue.
Muito bem-vindos de volta ao primeiro dia da TechWeek. E a gente vai agora conferir o resultado da nossa segunda...
Welcome back to the first day of our Tech Week. Let's check the results of our second poll. We asked you what you think is the main trend, work-related trend for the future. I'm curious about it. Let's check it out. Process-based, no routine. Apparently, most people voted no routine, routine-free, and then focused on the creation of value, and finally, context-based instead of standardized. This means we're going to have fewer processes and more creativity. Patricia said this morning that creativity was also a trend, and we're going to be talking about that anytime soon. Patricia, who will be our next guest? Yeah, our next speaker has a lot to do with the question of the poll. He's going to come up with insights about agile, digitalization ecosystems, digital ecosystems. So now we'll invite Mr. Renato da Paz, leader of analytics for Latin America at Amazon Web Services. Renato, can you hear us? Morning, Patricia. I can hear you. Can you guys hear me well? Perfectly, Renato. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. So, for us to start, I'll break the protocol and ask you a question that was not agreed before. Renato, how are you getting by? How are you surviving in this work of home situation? I know you're a father, you're a husband, but what is the journey like for you? What has it been like? Well, working from home or remote work has many sides to it. My wife suffers the most because she has to put up with me all day long. But jokes aside, it is a challenge. You have to strike a balance between personal life, professional life. That's been a challenge, not only for me, but I think for everyone. But the bright side of it is that I'm staying close to my family. I used to travel a lot. I traveled all over Latin America, and now I'm able to spend more time with my daughters. But yes, there are some challenges, and sometimes my youngest daughter, she's 20 months old, but she has participated in some live sessions with me, some meetings with me. I have to help my wife take care of her, so sometimes she participates in the meetings too. That's awesome. I think that many people can relate to that. I think many of our participants can relate to that situation. We all know what it's like to work from home. We all know the challenges and the good things about remote work. It's been more than a year now, and I think we're more used to it already. So again, thank you very much for joining us. And now I'd like to ask you to set the context of Amazon Web Services. Please tell us more about that. If you could tell us a little bit about the characteristics of Amazon Web Services and tell us more about what Amazon Web Services is all about. Good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here. I'm honored to have been invited. I like to learn more about Scania. I like to learn more about your initiatives. I think that's exciting. And what I can tell you about Amazon Web Services in particular, what is it, you ask me, right? What is it all about? Amazon Web Services, a technology company by Amazon. Our main goal is to work with cloud computing. And if you know what cloud computing is, we sell computing as a service. And as a traditional service, a traditional definition of service, like utilities, like electricity or water, you just pay per use. If you're using electricity, you pay for the amount of electricity you use to the utility company. The same works for technology and AWS. AWS is a technology company that sells cloud solutions to its clients, and we've been participating in the digital transformation process of many companies. We've been supporting many companies in this tech area. I really liked what Mikhail said, that much of the work, or 50% of our work, is about developing software and computing initiatives. So I believe that AWS has been helping many clients along this journey, and our mission. And that's basically our mission, our purpose. Now tell me, what is the innovator profile at Amazon? What do you consider innovative at Amazon? When we think about the innovative profile of Amazon, we have to think about Amazon's mission, which is to be the most customer-centered company or client-centered company on earth. This mission enables us to work in many industries. Retail, like Amazon.com. It enables us to work with Amazon Prime for the creation of content. And of course, for computing with Amazon Web Services. So what we understand by innovation, and again, I appreciated what Mikhail said, is that we have to put our focus on the client. We're customer-centric. When we talk about innovation, we start at our client and then we go back. First, we understand our client's pain points, their needs, and based on that, we try to come up with solutions to meet that need, to bring a clear benefit, to add clear value to that client. Okay, so let me see if I understand that. So first, you think about the customer, your clients, and technology is a means to meeting the needs of your clients. Is that it? Yes, that's pretty much our mindset. Well, it matches Scania's mindset, right? Yes, that's a match. Now tell me, what is your take on leadership, work methodologies? What can you tell us about that? What is the trick for quick innovation? Is there a solution for that? How can we innovate quickly after all? Well, we work with our clients to support their innovation strategies with Amazon. We usually say that our innovation process is ours, but it's a way of innovating. It's not the only way of innovating or the best way of doing things, but it's how we do things. And we help our clients with that. In our process, there are many elements. One important element is setting the teams, organizing the teams, setting up teams. There's an element focused on architecture or how we can make technology available in a simple and easy way so that you can focus on what really matters for your business. We also have a mechanism. It's a process inside Amazon where we work to build the solution. It's what we call working backwards. And to finally answer your question, we have our culture. And when it comes to culture, we have the leadership principles. Our leadership principles at the AWS, and here at AWS, we believe that everyone, directors, officers, managers, employees, everyone, we call them individual contributors, right? We're all leaders and we all have to try and make decisions based on our leadership principles. And a leadership principle that I find particularly interesting when it comes to decision making, it's bias for action. So we know that speed is extremely important for our business. We have to make decisions quickly, but we know there are two types of decisions, right? There are decisions that can be changed. They're reversible. You can make a decision and then chart the course along the process. You can adjust and tweak the decision along the way, but there are some decisions that are irreversible. They're not so simple to take a step back or to adjust your trajectory. So depending on the type of decision, or you need more information. When we think about reversible decisions, you don't need all the information. So maybe you can be faster. If you don't have all the information, but you have to come up with something, you can try and be faster. But with the other solution or the other decisions, you need more data to inform that. I think that in any case, we need as much information as possible to make the best decisions. Yeah, I like the idea of separating decisions between reversible and irreversible. That's an interesting way of looking at things and of informing the decision-making process. I like that. Juliana, do we have more questions? We do, guys. Keep sending them. Mr. Queiroz is asking, what is the big challenge of a technology company in developing this kind of culture in a country like Brazil with so many infrastructure problems? So what is the challenge in the Brazilian context in particular? You know, guys, when we hire people here at Amazon, we always think about our leadership principles, and the Brazilian reality is not that much of a problem. I'm a Brazilian citizen, and when I participated in the process, and it's more about your attitude, it's more about your conduct than about the infrastructure of the country. At Amazon, we work with people who are driven, who want to build. We hire builders, as we call them, and we let them build within our framework of beliefs. So Brazilians are creative. We Brazilians are creative. There are many leadership principles that are familiar to us. We think big. Brazilians usually think big, and we try to simplify things. We're good at identifying problems, and we're also good at automating repetitive processes. So I think that being Brazilian is not a problem for you. You have the right attitudes and the right beliefs to work in this area. Of course, the Brazilian market itself has some challenges, but despite that, many companies are going to the cloud. Cloud adoption is growing quickly, and that's key for any process, especially if you look at our companies. There are many unicorns that appeared in Brazil. So there's great potential, and I believe that the cloud has enabled companies to build much more quickly, much more solidly, and to add value. So yes, I think that the Brazilian market is very important, and it's a very interesting market, especially for the development and implementation of our principles. That's good to hear. That's good to hear, because Brazilians tend to feel we're the ugly ducklings. And of course, we know that our infrastructure and education problems are severe, but it's good to hear that we have the creativity and the attitude it takes to be successful in that. So thank you for looking at the bright side. That was an interesting answer. At Scania, we work in 100 cultures. We know what it's like to work with different cultures, and I just love talking about that. What about you, Juliana? Questions? I do. There are also some comments. Beatrice Testa is telling us she's enjoying the event. There are some people talking about the AWS platform, the AWS Educate platform for teachers and students with a lot of interesting content. Make sure to check it out. And there's a question from Mr. Perez de Freitas about, is there any plan for the integration of shop floor solutions with AWS solutions and services? Can you tell us about that, Renato? Are you working with shop floor initiatives at other companies or even with Scania? Well, that's not my main area of expertise. I work more with data and analytics, but for those of you in the manufacturing industries thinking specifically about the shop floor, in the last re-event edition in December last year, it's actually available online. Many sessions are available online. We launched a number of components like Lookout for Vision and Lookout for Metrics that are particularly useful for manufacturers. There are some devices that you can connect at your shop floor, and they can measure several things. It produces several metrics like vibration, noise levels, and you can use that information as input for machine learning frameworks and to identify potential failures or breaches in your environment for predictive maintenance and to try and reduce unplanned stops. We also have some other services that are useful for manufacturers. There's one called Lookout for Vision, which I find pretty cool because it enables you to use the cameras that you already have at your plant to apply machine learning, to count materials, supply, to validate whether the materials meet quality standards and things like that. So yes, that's very helpful for manufacturers, especially for quality assurance. I'm sure you can find something interesting for that. On our website, there is a number of services that have been designed precisely for the manufacturing sector and that can help you with predictive maintenance at the shop floor. Thank you, Renato. That's interesting. Now let's talk more about behavior. There's a pizza thing, right? What can you tell us about pizza? Are you bringing pizza? What is this pizza thing at Amazon? What is that? Tell us about the pizza theory. Yeah, I can tell you about that. Sure. Well, the thing is, here, one of the things we do to enable our bias fraction, to enable us to make faster decisions, is to give autonomy to our teams. And when we talk about building teams and organizing teams, setting up teams, we have what we call the two pizza teams. The two pizza team concept is precisely about defining a team with a size that you can feed with two big pizzas. So You order 2 large pizzas. If you can feed the whole team with 2 pizzas, that's the right size of the team. I can eat 2 pizzas alone, right? But I can be a team on my own because I eat a lot. But anyway, jokes aside, this is something that guides us. A team that needs more than 2 pizzas to be fed is already too big. This enables high quality communication and direct communication. So a 2 pizza team, in my case, would be 1 person. But anyway, I believe that the idea behind it is to have teams that are small enough to work closely and have fluid communication. The idea is to have autonomous teams, teams with enough autonomy and responsibility to make decisions, right? So our CTO, Werner Volgas, talks a lot about that. And he says, if you build it, you run it, meaning you're responsible and accountable for what you build. And we try to empower our teams to do that. We give them autonomy, we empower them with autonomy and responsibility, and then they make their own decisions and build accordingly. And they're responsible for what they build. So the 2 pizza team is a formula we have here. We talk a lot about agile. That are many things that are related to the concept and the idea of agile, but basically what we call our agile team is our agile initiatives is a 2 pizza team. I like this name. It's a creative team and it makes me hungry. So we're gonna have we're gonna come up with a more creative name at Scania in the implementation of our agile methodology. Anything else, Juliana? Yes, now we have a long list of questions, but I will ask Alexander's question. What is your take on cloud information security so that companies can make the decision to adopt the cloud, to go to the cloud? That's a great question. For us, security is of the utmost importance. If we have any problem with security, we stop everything to solve that. When I joined AWS, in the beginning, people talked a lot about security. I was even afraid to turn on my own laptop at home. I said, is this safe? I was a little paranoid in the beginning, and this is just to illustrate how concerned we are about security. Sometimes companies think that they can either implement security or deliver fast, but it's not either or, right? At AWS, we're able to help our customers implement with security and speed. We can strike a balance between that. We have a number of services that help our clients implement processes like that are both secure and fast. We also talk a lot about shared responsibility. So we are responsible for the security of the cloud, and our clients, our customers are responsible for the security in the cloud. So it's important that clients are aware that they will have to pay attention to access encrypting information. So there's this shared responsibility, and we guide our clients on how to implement the services in a secure way using security good practices and to make sure that the process is going to be seamless and smooth. But in terms of cloud security, we have a number of certifications. We care a lot about that. We work a lot on that. We try to do as much as possible to ensure that all services comply with the highest security standards required worldwide. So if there's any certification, any security certification that's recently been launched, AWS is probably working on it already to get the certification, the certificates we need in Europe. Even before some certifications were required, we already had them. So it doesn't have to be a requirement. We're always doing our best to be up to date with the most demanding certifications because security is key to us.
Safety is the key. Also here at Scania, you're seeing so many particularities we have in common is safety in first place in case data, which is currently the new oil, it's giant for all the companies. It's always important having your view, the one you're bringing to us. Another question, Juliana? one from our box, the VIP area. They have a privileged place here in our stage, and the guys on the chat as well. From the camarote, the box, Amazon is known by its innovative profile. What is your suggestion to use this way of acting and thinking traditional and process-oriented companies? Cool. In our work, as I commented, we always help our customers to innovate. And we see three ways we can contribute to innovation. We have more. One of the first ways is many times customers. And as Mikhail said before, we say we need to have speed to implement a solution, and we are focused in software development. A lot of companies are seeking not only digitalization, but digital transformation. And they want to have this speed, and they see at the cloud this possibility. We are professional services team, a framework, cloud adoption framework, where we help these companies to start using cloud as part of software development, or bringing the development part inside the cloud. And we are doing a strong work of migration so our customers can start to use and have the benefit of the speed. We also have a program called Digital Innovation, where we work along with our customers and we help them to develop a digital product. For example, I need a product to serve my customer with this kind of need, and we can help our customers in this path of digital transformation, creating a digital product. And in last, we have organizational transformation, both as the CAF. We also help companies to restructure themselves and see how we can use in this agile and technology model and computing model. Professional service, we have a huge care, not only in the technical point of view of saying how I use the software technology in cloud, the best way of doing it, obeying the best practice. Safety by design, always the first layer. And not only the technical issue, but also the organizational issue, how the teams will be organized, how will we structure training, which capabilities we need to deliver to teams. We also have this soft skills care and front processes. Renato, you said about important themes, innovation, safety, methods of creation, how to make things happen. It's not being the plan of the ideas. In our audience has curiosity of knowing how we can be faster. And last question, I want you to tell a story, and then we know many stories from you. We want you to share them. Connected to culture. If you can talk to us the issues about failure, making mistakes. Amazon must have failed one day, or if not, every day. Please tell us about this framework. How do you work with this culture of safety failure? And we will keep on with our show, knowing a little more how to fall and go up again and go on. When you talk about this failure part, is super important. And when we start looking to Amazon as a whole, I can tell you, we are always encouraging experimentation as soon as possible, so you can have this idea of assessing new ways of doing things and how you can evolve. So we can bring failure to a scale scenario. With low budget, you can test your idea and validate it, if it will be valid, if it will work or not, and if it doesn't work, to spend so much energy on it. So cloud computing allows you doing it. And with low cost. It's super important. But talking about failures, we believe that when a company wants to innovate, it needs to be up to failures and up to making mistakes, because failure is inherent to innovation process. If you want to innovate without failing and you do not tolerate failure, probably you are not innovating. You're just playing safe and you in a comfortable zone. When we are looking in terms of background, I don't know if many of you heard about auctions. It was an initiative from Amazon to create an environment where people could sell and make a reverse auction. It didn't work well, and then Amazon said, no, it has to work. How can we have sellers inside Amazon.com selling products? So what did we do? We release Z shops, and there we have the idea of people creating a virtual shop and start selling. It didn't work very well too, and it didn't went well. And in the end, Amazon released the marketplace, and this worked. This one worked. And one of the things, the cool things on our culture, we need to be clear on the view of what we want to reach, our goal, and we need to be persistent in this view, but we need to be flexible in details. What does it mean? Not necessarily how we are thinking in the beginning, with the way will be the way you will implement it. Your view need to be clear, you need to persist on that, but the way, how it can be transformed and how can it evolve. In the case of Marketplace, we have two previous attempts allowing that with this learning, Amazon could reach what we have today regarding Marketplace. Another example, I think it's an interesting one. I don't know if you have the Fire Phone. I don't have it. I have an Android. But for the ones that followed, some years ago, Amazon launched a cell phone, Fire Phone. It had a voice command at that time, and it didn't work. Amazon collected the product. We have a huge loss regarding Fire Phone, but Amazon didn't dismiss anyone. We reallocated the teams, and all the work it had with devices for building the electronics and all of it allowed us to launch Alexa. So we believe that it's really important to learn with our failures, from our fails, so we do not repeat ourselves on our errors. How can we automatize and make things simple so this error will not occur again, but also learning with the errors and using this learning to build, create new things. In the end, Fire Phone was the origin of Alexa, which is a very well-known product. I don't know if you have one. I have one at my place. And it's really cool. And I think that's the big pleasure of be focusing your vision, start working, be persistent on what you want to do, not necessarily on how you're doing it, but focus on the final view. These are some examples. And when you talk about how can I learn more about Amazon, a good reading reference would be the letters Jeff Bezos writes to his shareholders. It's really cool. They tell a lot of story on the terms of culture. All of those things are present on the letters, and they tell the Amazon's history along the years. Great, Renato. We're going to the next guest, but this sentence inspired everybody. A vision with persistence and flexibility when you're doing things. It's great. We're talking about that this week. But there's another person in here too. Our last guest of the day, certainly he will connect his talk about on what Renato brought today and Michael brought today. Adolfo Corujo, Chief Strategy Innovation Officer from LIC from Spanish, directly from his office in Miami. He's here to talk to us. Let's see if Adolfo is on the line. How are you? Good morning. You're here with us directly from Miami, that's it? Participating, really happy. You invite me here to learn a lot today. We will learn a lot with you today. Thank you for your time with us. Adolfo is passionate by innovation, culture, and we want to talk about this morning with you. To start, I would like to follow on Renato's presentation. He talked about the companies that want to innovate but need to be able to fail. Failure is inherent to innovation process. I would like to know for you, Adolfo, innovation is a characteristic of humans to survive. Yes, I agree. Scania's history is innovation history. We have you have moments when things did not went well, and we learn with that to survive. In the end, companies are like living organisms. They are trying to survive the best way possible, and their capacity to survive in many times it depends on your capacity to be creative, to be explorer, and also to open new ways. We have to find this future we are looking for. The Scania's history in 110 years is a good example to find ways, moments where this innovation would assure the future you have ahead. Creativity, exploration. We have to look to the future. We talked to Mikael and Renato about this issue of companies, digital-born companies bringing innovation, and it's easy because they are born in this digital environment. But what can they learn with centenary organizations? You work with companies all over the world. You have another knowledge like Scania. What can they teach for the ones starting right now? I love Renato's words when he was describing the innovation process and the structure in Amazon, which they use to innovate. I love that because they are doing Scania and other companies, centenary companies. They have been doing things for many years. They have an organizational model allowing innovation. They work with this idea of architecture, making available all the technological elements necessary to put a creative and innovative idea in practice. And this idea of automation industry, for example, other traditional ones, we work with this paradigm for 100 of years. The idea of work with what you want to deliver in the end to the customer, the final delivery, in front of the final delivery, they start to draw what they need to do. And I connect with my capacity, the way Michael was saying. The main idea in here is probably what we learned, these digital companies learned, is to get the best concepts, the best practices, adopt the centenary companies like Scania were doing, include them in their management philosophy. And on the contrary, what we have to learn, the one less digital, we need to learn to study how they execute, not how they think, how they take things to the reality, the ideas into reality. It has to be fast, fast and cheap, on the idea that the idea of failing is not so negative in the traditional world as we understand like that sometimes. I see every day working with companies in many companies. it's a mix of what worked in the past in centenary companies and which are in things that are still working, and mixing with new ways of executing and testing fast and taking the new ideas and empower collaborators, as Renato said, so they are able to build to run. The idea of if you have the capacity of thinking in a new scenario and the capacity of engaging an idea, you be in charge of the success of this. We can learn this from them. And I think what Amazon is doing of best is getting traditional ideas and taking them to a new stage. That's really good, Adolfo. You talk about this speed, like digital-born companies are acting. And we are coming from a long story, a long history. We have products making the difference, but we have a dilemma. We're always talking about culture. In the end of the day, if we want to move forward, looking to the future, as Christopher said, they are looking to 2050. How will we get there? We need to transform our culture. What is the challenge for that? I think this issue of culture, Christopher said about that. I think Michael said something on how to work culture. In culture, we have two levels, different ones. What is visible inside the organization, purpose, organizational system, the view, etc. And you have what is not visible, invisible, in the level of personal relations between among people inside a company. Well, a company is a community sharing individual values, beliefs, purposes, principles, and which believe in one another. We talk about trust when the way the dialogue culture evolves. What happened in the last 2 years in the middle of the pandemic, I hope everybody connecting here in this event is everyone here are in the best condition of health. What happened when everybody was talking about it was impossible for some people to accept digital, the world then became digital. My mother is doing everything in a small village in Spain. She's doing everything digitally. Nobody had to explain to her. She only had to have the need for that. What is the secret of evolving the digital culture at Scania? Feeling the public, the audience feeling the need. If you had the audience, the need, the entire Scania team will evolve. You get these concepts of digital culture with no problem. But if the company or collaborators from any company, any sector, they are comfortable, they don't need this urgency. So we'll keep talking on digitalization as we were talking before the pandemic. And when I was trying to explain to my mother what was Zoom, she didn't know about that. And then she was needing to use Zoom and simple like that. Yes, the need, it's simple. When we're looking at our customer needs, in our case, as Renato said about Amazon too, talking about customer, I would like to come back to it. Digital and connected. Who is this new customer and what brands need to do to communicate with their stakeholders? In the case of Scania, we have a close communication with our customer, but we are inside an ecosystem. We have partners. We are going from a B2B, from a B2C communication, a wider one. I see this movement in other companies that used to be B2B and now need a new wider position to society. And why this happened? Because the customer has changed. Technology changes. Your mom now knows what is Zoom and she will consume it. What can you say about this new customer? What is him inputting in the companies? What changes in now scenario having the customer of today? The customer will want both things: a direct contact, immediate contact, agile contact, solving his needs at any time, and at the same time he wants this contact to be as human as possible. And first is the artificial intelligence, with technology is able to making a machine talk to you, establishing a dialogue with you. This will evolve a lot in the next years. The conversational technologies allowing a company to talk to 100,000, a million, 10 million people at the same time is one of the things they will demand. And the other issue is the way we talk is a human way. It's a challenge. It will need hard work so the company can dominate that and build on this capacity, competitive advantage. Only the companies that can integrate artificial intelligence to their need in a way that is totally human can be connected to the consumer. So I want to talk to Scania at any time of the day. I want to talk to Scania B2B, B2C. There's no difference for me. Now I need to talk to Scania. At this moment, I want availability, capacity of the company to provide that, technology probably. At the same time, the human, we need to establish terminology, respecting the humanity in communication is a huge challenge. But as I said, probably the competitive advantage in the 10, 15 years ahead, it will be for companies that know to interpret this key in terms of success.
That's exciting. During the pandemic, that was a widespread demand. Everybody wanted humanization at the same time. Everybody wanted to make use of technology, right? Juliana, do we have more questions? Yes, we have a question directly from our booth, from Mr. Thales Farina. He's asking, Adolfo, what do you think an employee could do to play the leading role in the transformation of a company? What should we do? What should an employee do to lead the way and help change the culture? That's a great question. That's a great question. Thank you for that. I think the main thing in a company like Scania, what Scania needs from its employees is to help them take action and leave the philosophy of the 20th century. In the 20th century, you had an idea, you would tell that idea to your boss to his or her boss, and then to all the way up to the C-level until you got all the approvals, all the authorizations, and then you would deploy that. Today, the digital world enables you to prototype your idea very quickly in small scale, in small initiatives that enable you to experiment with that. And at the same time, you can drive the digitalization or the digital transformation of your company, if you will. These prototypes are most of these prototypes can be ideated and created using software only, because conventional software everyone can use. And I'm not only talking about engineering initiatives about how to organize our department, how to work, to test ideas more quickly. All this can be brought to the table, to the meetings, but it can bring more tangible ideas already. You can prototype things on your own and show your bosses what it is like already. Without, of course, you can build PowerPoints and presentations, but presenting a built model is the most interesting thing. And to do that, you have to take action, to take the initiative to drive change in a company like Scania. Thank you for that. Those of you who are passionate about technology, pay attention to this behavior, be propositional, take the initiative. All right, now let's take a look at some more questions from our audience. Yes, we invited some members of our booth to ask questions directly to our speakers. Adolfo just talked about how to play the leading role in the digital transformation process. So we have a question precisely about that. Let's see who will ask Renato and Adolfo question. Who's going to be first? Do we have a volunteer? Some people are raising their hands. Open your mics and shoot. Good morning, Gustavo. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm learning a lot. My name is Gustavo Gomez. I study mechanic engineering at FEI. I participated in Innovathon 2018, done by Scania, and I'm currently working with product development at Scania in the bus area. You talked a lot about culture and society today, and my question is for Adolfo. Adolfo, how can digitalization help cities provide better services to the population? I love this question. We could spend a whole day talking about that. Let's have an event to talk about that. No, but seriously, like Christopher said, urbanization is directly associated with sustainability trends. They're intertwined with the digitalization trend as well. As citizens, we have to feel more connected with the people around us and the services of the city. Not only the services, but with the community as a whole. It's been demonstrated that loneliness, as you grow older, feeling lonely is one of the factors that shorten your lifespan and worsen the quality of life. So encouraging contact among people helps improve their health. I'm not only talking about healthcare services, I'm talking about being connected with more people, with their loved ones and their community. As we grow old, this is one of the things that can ensure our happiness and the happiness of people in the city, especially the elderly. So this connection is absolutely fundamental. I believe that the next generation, your generation, I think you'll have to play with these things. You've worked with video game servers. You're already native digital, right? So you will demand connectivity from the authorities, but we cannot wait 20, 30 years to achieve that. And cities are already working on how to quickly deploy networks and infrastructure to improve access and connectivity for its citizens. But it's key to happiness. I'm not only talking about survival, but I'm talking about connectivity as a way of making people happier. That was a great question, Gustavo, and your answer was fantastic. Thank you, Adolfo. And now we have another question from Karina. Good morning, everyone. My name is Karina Marx. I study computer sciences at IMB Morumbi, and my question is for Renato. How can big data help companies in such a disruptive landscape? Renato, over to you. And I think you're mute. Am I? No, now I can hear you. I couldn't hear you, but now I can. One of the things that I've noticed in my everyday life is that companies are increasingly becoming data-oriented, and they notice that being data-oriented is a competitive advantage. We've seen studies, there's a study by Forbes saying that 85% of the companies want to be data-oriented, but only 37% of them actually are. So we've been working with a number of organizations that are working on it, that have plans to achieve that. So for big data in particular, I think that more and more big data will play an increasingly relevant role to make companies more competitive. It's increasingly going to be part of a company's competitive edge, and it's related to the business, not only to technology. Of course, we deliver it as technology, but it's highly business oriented. I've seen new positions like chief data officers, who are people who work to build the strategy, the data strategy of a company, and people who are also related to the business area, not only the technology area. So I see that big data is a way, it's an important way for people and companies to make better decisions, improve the experience of their clients, optimize their processes, and improve their products and services. So yes, it takes some participation of both areas, IT and business. Thank you. Thank you, Renato, our data expert. Now we have another question from Mateus. Good morning, Mateus. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mateus. I study business administration at São Bernardo. I am an HR intern at Scania. And my question is also for Renato. In this moment of digital transformation, how can we exercise our creativity? How can we practice creativity and this critical look to seize opportunities? How can we stay alert to those things and work on our creativity skills? That's a great question too. It would take a day to answer. Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think all the questions that have been asked are very interesting and would produce a good event, a good meeting. But to answer your question, Mateus, when we look at innovation, and even before I joined AWS, I thought there were innovation departments and innovation areas. But when I joined AWS and I started to learn about its culture, the Amazon innovation culture, I realized that it's up to everyone. It's everyone's job. So what I can tell you is that the first thing you have to do is to know who your client is. First, you have to understand the needs and the problems of your client, and then you innovate based on that. You innovate to meet that need, the needs of your clients, thinking about how you can make your clients' work easier for them to have a better experience. Thinking about HR in particular, a good experience that you can think of is like when a new employee joins Scania. What does he or she need to start learning from the onboarding? What do they need to start their integration process with the teams? You have to look at the needs of your end user and then think about what you can do to ensure a good experience. I think everyone at AWS can innovate, and we can all think about new ways of doing things. We can all think about new ways of making our customers' lives easier. So you don't have to do something very big. Of course, you can do something big, but you can think small too. You can think about how to improve the experience of a given client, of a given process, and then build on that. So everyone in any position, in any job, in any area can innovate. Everyone is empowered to innovate here so that we can improve our clients' experiences. Yes, we talk a lot about empathy at Scania. Put yourself in other people's shoes, and then you will know how they feel, and that will help you innovate to improve their lives. Juliana, I think we have yet another question, Mr. Carlos Eugenio. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity, right? I'm from São Paulo. I'm in the 4th year of mechatronic engineering. I'm an engineering student, and my question goes to Adolfo. What is more challenging? To promote actions to help people deal with innovation, to deal with what's new, or to create strategies to help people detach from the old, how to deal with what's new, or how to forsake and abandon the past? That's a good question. It's always complicated to unlearn so that you can learn again, right? So detaching from the past is indeed a challenge. Designing strategies can be easy. What is difficult is to deploy the strategy, implement that, how to actually make that strategy come about. So when we think about someone's ability to change their mindset, what is fundamental is to give people enough arguments to unlearn and then start learning again. So you have to have strong arguments. You have to make your point. It may sound simple, but it's not. It's one of the most complicated problems in communication. So sometimes strategies have actions and initiatives to achieve that. But usually what happens is that organizations do not actually execute that part of the strategy where, or as they don't do that brilliantly, let's say. Usually companies struggle with the processes and that creates frustration in people who cannot unlearn but need to learn something new. So I think your question is critical. It's a critical part of the cultural evolution process of any company. I think that if we dedicated more time to help people unlearn previous schemes, we wouldn't have to work so hard to talk about innovation and digitalization later, because people would have space in their brain to actually learn what's new, to accept innovation and deal with that. And this is actually one of the big blocks or challenges that we have. I think I don't have a final answer to your question. We're still looking for it. You're welcome to help us. I think many companies in the world are looking for that because this is probably the key to successful innovation. I thought some of you were going to ask the brand of Renato's electric guitar, because when you asked about creativity, it's about building and unbuilding ideas. So someone who plays the guitar, to play the electric guitar, needs to be innovative and fast adapting. So what electric guitar is behind you, Renato, and what role does music play in creativity in your life? I have a question now. That's great. When I talked about interaction, this is exactly what I meant. So Renato, over to you for us to wrap up this session. My electric guitar has actually been assembled. A friend of mine gave it to me. It's partially Gibson and it's basically made of many parts. I'm not a player. I'm not an electric guitar player, but I use it to play and to have a good time, to exercise that. I love music, and I think music helps me be creative, and music helps me develop other skills. I used to play in martial bands. I play wind instruments, and now I'm playing with this guitar. I love music. I wish I were better, and this guitar has been given to me by a friend for me to practice, but there's no particular brand. In particular, some parts are Gibson. All right, Adolfo, for us to finish thinking about the human side of the event, that's a great idea, thinking about the human side behind technology. We're coming to the end of this session with some wonderful insights from our guests who generously dedicated their time to us. Thank you for your time to join us. Thank you for trying to learn and unlearn. Carlos Eugenio can be our next guest because he asked a long question that was a great match for our session. Carlos, stay tuned because we're going to talk more about that throughout the week. It's already noon, so I would like to wrap up today by thanking you a lot. Thank you from Scania. Thank you to all our guests, everyone who's in Sweden, in our Latin American neighbors. Thank you all for joining us this morning. Tomorrow we'll come back at 10 a.m. Brazil time, and we'll talk to more guests about the challenges of digitalization and how to turn this magic into reality and how to bring the human aspect into the digital aspect, the role of people in digital transformation. With that, I bid you all farewell. I leave the program here and stay with us. Yeah, stay with us. We're waiting for you every day from 10 a.m. to noon. We have a scheduled meeting every day until Friday. See you tomorrow.